Welcome to Conflict News 24. Today's news bulletin includes news stories from Iraq and Russia-Ukraine conflict. In Iraq, new president has been elected. The country has been in the grip of instability for decades. After US invasion of Iraq, the country was plunged into instability. And last year election was held, but no government could be formed. Election held in October. And we are in October now, but a year has passed, but no government could be formed. There are external players involved in Iraq. Secondly, Russia-Ukraine conflict. A resolution was tabled at UN General Assembly's session today, condemning Russian annexation of Zaporizhia, Kherson, Lugansk, Donetsk. Resolution has been passed. Question is, which countries supported Russia? Which countries supported Ukraine? And thirdly, Ukraine is going to receive anti-drone devices, anti-drone jamming devices. Decision has been made at some meetings held by EU ministers. Do EU countries have effective anti-drone weaponry? And fourthly, Ukraine says it is fully prepared to defend from an attack from Belarus. Firstly was Iraq, where new president has been elected. His name is Abdul Latif Rashid. Iraqi MPs elected the new president, who is a Kurdish Iraqi. Iraq, there is a settlement that president is always Kurdish, prime minister is Shia Muslim, and speaker of parliament is Sunni Muslim. That is what Iraqi democracy is. Like similar arrangement is in Lebanon as well, where Christians and Muslims have some settlement of this kind. Iraq is a divided country. Three main players in Iraq. Kurds, backed by US. They have a semi-autonomous zone, Iraqi Kurdistan, where there is US military base. Then there is Muqtada al-Sadr, a Shia religious cleric with massive following in the country. And thirdly, coordination framework, a bloc backed by Iran. Iran shares border with Iraq. And after US invaded Iraq around 3 decades ago, Iraq became destabilized. The country has remained split in the past around 3 decades. And wherever US and allies invaded, the countries are still destabilized. Iraq, destabilized. Libya, destabilized. Afghanistan, destabilized. Now, in October last year, election was held in Iraq. Muqtada al-Sadr party, he is a cleric, a politician. His party won majority, but not enough majority to form government. So since then, a political crisis has been continuing in Iraq. Now, new president has been elected, Abdul Latif Rashid. He will invite a coordination framework, Iran-backed bloc to form government. It will be interesting to see the response of Muqtada al-Sadr faction, which withdrew its members of parliament from parliament in July. And then Muqtada al-Sadr party supporters took control of Iraqi parliament. And almost a month ago, Muqtada al-Sadr party supporters stormed Green Zone, Baghdad's Iraqi capital's high security zone. They stormed presidential palace as well. There were clashes, several were killed. Then Muqtada al-Sadr appealed for calm. Before that, he announced to abandon, to quit politics. That led to his supporters taking control of Iraq's green zone. Now, new president elected, and he will invite Mohammad Shia al-Sudani, who is from coordination framework bloc backed by Iran. Will Mohammad Shia al-Sudani be able to form government? That remains to be seen. Will Muqtada al-Sadr accept the government? That remains to be seen. So coming days crucial for stability in Iraq. There are economic issues in Iraq, security issues. Even when Abdul Latif Rashid was being elected at the parliament, rockets were fired which hit areas close to Iraqi parliament. Second, viewers, today a resolution was tabled at UN General Assembly to condemn Russian annexation of 4 Ukrainian zones, Zaporizhia, Kherson, Luhansk, Donetsk, where Russians held referendums a few days ago, and then Putin announced that the people living in the 4 zones had chosen to be part of Russia. Russia annexed the 4 zones, but international community rejected the referendums. The resolution was tabled at the Union Assembly session. It was put to vote. 183 countries were there to vote, and 143 countries of the world opposed Russian annexation of the 4 Ukrainian zones. 5 countries stood with Russia, 4 won Russia itself, and 35 abstained from voting. 5 countries, Russia itself, secondly Belarus, Russian ally, thirdly North Korea, fourthly Nicaragua, and fifthly Syria. These 5 countries, including Russia, they opposed resolution. 35 countries abstained from voting, and out of 35, 19 were African countries. So out of around 50 plus African countries, 19 supported Russia by abstaining from voting. The resolution has been passed. Russia could not really support global support for this resolution. Now, Ukraine is going to receive anti-drone jamming devices. Joseph Borrell, EU High Representative, made this announcement today that in Belgium, EU ministers held some meetings. It was decided that Ukraine should be provided with anti-drone jamming devices and air defense systems. Russians, since the start of this conflict in February this year, have held air's priority. And now Ukraine is going to receive anti-missile systems, air defense systems to stop Russian airstrikes. Secondly, lately Russians have purchased Iranian 136 Shahed kamikaze drones, which are proving to be lethal in the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine. I think 3 to 4 days ago, when Russians conducted retaliatory strikes for attack on Crimean Bridge, dozens of these Shahed kamikaze Iranian drones were launched by Russians, and they hit targets precisely. These kamikaze suicide drones are hurting Ukrainians. That is why now Ukraine is going to receive anti-drone jamming devices. It would be interesting to see, are there any effective anti-drone jamming devices which can counter modern combat drones. Russians are known for producing electronic warfare systems which can take down drones by cutting off the link between drone and its ground control station. I don't know what type of capabilities does Europe have, but it will be interesting to see, can EU provided jamming devices stop Russian drone strikes on Ukraine? Let's see. Lastly, viewers, Ukraine says it is fully prepared to defend from an attack from Belarus. Tens of thousands of soldiers deployed on both sides of the border. Ukraine says that Russia and Belarus are planning another attack on Ukraine from Belarus, like they did in February. Later, they withdrew. Belarus says that Ukraine and NATO countries are planning invasion of Belarus. So, tensions there. Zelensky says that his soldiers are fully prepared. Meanwhile, reportedly, transportation of weapons, ammunition from Belarus towards Russia is also being seen. Russians are relying a little bit on Belarusian ammunition, which could be an indication that Russians are planning a long war. They want to seek the help of their allies too. That is why reportedly Belarus is providing ammunition, weapons to Russia. If Belarus is providing weapons to Russia, it means that it might not be involved in direct attack on Ukraine. But let's see. Ukraine says that preparations are underway. Thank you for watching.